Horizon just from Kurzgesagt, and this is What Are You Doing With Your Life? The Tail End by the channel Kurzgesagt in a nutshell. Yeah, I think this is one of those existential crisis type of videos. It's gonna be fun. Wrapping your mind around your life is pretty hard because you are up to your neck in it. It's like trying to understand the ocean while learning how to swim. On most days, you are busy just keeping your head above the water. So it's not easy to figure out what to do with your life and how to spend your time. There are millions of distractions, your family, friends, romantic partners, boring works, and existing projects. Video games to play and books to read. Yeah, video games. People who play video games, it's not going to read that many books, rather. And then there is your couch that somebody needs to lie on. It's easy to get lost, so let's take a step back and take a look at your life from the outside. Yeah. What are you doing with your life? I think, this is the question everybody kind of feels, even if they don't really think about it even deep, but they kind of feels this kind of question. And, it starts to feel, I guess, bit anxiety, depression feeling because, people put their goals pretty high and that leads to a bit of sadness in them, basically. So what are you doing with your life? Well, I don't think that much deep about that. I just do what I want to do at certain level. Obviously, that doesn't work out all the time, but still. And, this way you keep the, anxiety and depression, away, I guess. Because thinking too much about what am I doing with it, I should do this, should do that, and specific goals, this and that. I love the CGP Grey videos about the theme rather than yearly resolution. This kind of, in a way, it's like that. Rather than, thinking in a specific, I'm going to do this. It's usually doesn't work out like that. It's a theme, I want to do certain things in life. That's it. Whether I do it now, 6 months later, it doesn't matter that much. I'm not going to stress out over it. That's the main thing. Otherwise, people are like, oh, this is too stressful and we'll give up on it. So yeah, this is going to be a fun video. I've read quite a few Kurzgesagt videos already. If you haven't seen them, check out the cars. There's a playlist, check out it for it. Kurzgesagt reaction. I upload lots of videos in 24 hours. So you might have missed some of them. Check out the playlist. Check out the playlist too, like Ori Sarcastic Production, Internet Historian, CGP Grey, Real Life Raw, Tier Zoo. Yeah, let's do this one.
Wrapping your mind around your life is pretty hard because you're up to your neck in it. It's like trying to understand the ocean while learning how to swim. On most days, you're busy just keeping your head above water, so it's not easy to figure out what to do with your life and how to spend your time. There are a million distractions: your family, friends and romantic partners, boring work, and exciting projects, video games to play and books to read. And then there's your couch that somebody needs to lie on. It's easy to get lost. So let's take a step back and look at your life from the outside. The average Kurzgesagt viewer is around 25 years old, which is a pretty good time in the life of most people. The insecurities of the teenage years have begun to recede. Maybe you find yourself in a job or a long-term relationship. Maybe you've started a family or are working on an advanced degree. Maybe you're not doing any of that and still want to enjoy life, whatever that means to you. Or maybe you feel stuck and don't know where to go yet. About 1 in 20 people watching this video will get to live to 100. Let's assume you are one of the lucky ones, which means you had a total of 5,200 weeks of life at your disposal when you were born. You spent the first 600 weeks of your life being a kid and 400 being a teenager.
1 out of 20 people reaches 100 years old? Really? So there's that many people who live 100 years? I didn't know that. I thought 100 years is pretty rare. 1 in 20 is not that rare considering the population.
During this time, you were pretty useless for society and also not very free to make your own decisions. As a payoff, you were somewhat spared from the consequences and responsibilities of adulthood. Mostly because well-meaning adults protected you by cleaning up your mess and giving you time to find yourself. This time is necessary to make you, at least in theory, a functioning human. Although most people probably don't feel like that after puberty. In any case, by the time you're 20, over 1,000 of your 5,200 weeks have passed. Depending on what you aspire to, at this point you're either working already or have entered further education. The amount of fun you can have in this phase of your life varies a lot. If you pick up a trade or need to work to support yourself or others, the serious side of life begins earlier. If you go to university, you get to push back work life a bit longer. In any case, most people start working for real in their 20s at the latest, which begins the productive or potentially grindy or soul-crushing period of your life. People tend to work until the age of 65, which means that you'll spend at least 2,000 weeks of your life with serious adult work.
Yeah, it is true when it comes to work. Rarely people find work that they really want to do, right? I mean, I don't know if it's our culture or what it is, or, when we grow up, we overhype the life that it is, maybe. So when the life actually comes, all the work comes, we find out that it's boring in a way, so it depresses us. We don't like our work, we don't like where we work, our bosses and things like that. So I don't know. It is really stressful, and that's why the depression ratio is going higher in the world, even though the world is getting better in all way, in poverty, in technology, in every way. World is getting better, and yet depression is going higher. Yeah, that is true. I mean, the work grinding, there is a time where we realize the crisis starts. That's why it's called midlife crisis around at 40 years old, because at that point you realize, wait a minute, half of my life is almost gone. And I've been doing work that I don't want. My life is slipping away. So because you have that feeling, because you don't like what you're doing in work, you want to do something that you really like. So yeah.
Hopefully in a job that makes you feel good and appreciated, or that makes the world better. This is such an important thing that we'll look at work and how you can try to find a satisfying career in another video. This is the main block of life for most people, the time when you might have kids and travel a bit, and climb the career ladder, and build a house, may get divorced and fall in love again. In this phase, you transition from being young to middle-aged to old. Not old, but the young old of your 60s. At 65, you've used up 3,400 of your 5,200 weeks. The last phase of your life begins. If you've managed to acquire enough wealth to retire, in theory, you're now free to do whatever you like for up to 1,800 weeks. But of course, this is not how it works for the majority of you watching this video.
Yeah, seriously.
19 out of 20 people will not live to 100. The average lifespan in the US is 79. In Germany, it's 81. In Japan, 84. In Brazil, it's 75. If you die at age 80, which is still not bad, you only have 780 weeks of freedom after you retire. That's roughly as many weeks of freedom as an old person as you spent as a child. Unfortunately, disease and the tiredness of age trip you up here, because with old age, the human body begins to decline sharply. For example, the vast majority of cancer-related deaths occur in people.
Yeah, see, thing is, people usually work their ass off really badly. They don't do anything they like, thinking that one day when they retire, they'll enjoy life, even though that's not going to turn out the way they think. Because once you're really old, it's really hard to enjoy the life in a way that you want to. You might not even reach a certain age anyway. So, my mentality is, I guess, it doesn't work for everybody. There are people who have to grind every single second of their lives just to survive. I understand that. But if you're just luxury to just, make enough money and just get by, work, and you can find time to, I guess, enjoy life, that is the best way to live life, even if you don't get more richer than you would have otherwise. Because once the time is the biggest wealth, in a way. So if a time goes away and you just have this crisis when you're really old, like, look at that, I wasted my life and didn't do lots of things I wanted to do, but now I can't. That's really effed up.
Over 70. If you bet all your fun cards on being free and happy in your retirement, you might be bitterly disappointed. And all of this is still assuming things work out and you even get to grow old. You can drown in a pool at age 7, get cancer at age 32, die in a car crash at age 48. You can fall from a ladder at age 60. Every day the universe rolls a bunch of dice for every human, and every day someone somewhere on this planet rolls a critical failure and their life ends that day. The older you get, the more dice are rolled for you. Usually when you swim through the ocean that is your life, you don't think about all of this too much, and that's fine. Life is engaging enough by itself, and the future is this undefined weird thing. But thinking about it from time to time is helpful in refocusing on what you want to do and to minimize regrets you will have when you look back, and to remind you that if you don't use your time today, you might not get a chance to use it tomorrow. Life is complicated, and it's hard to make decisions between all the things and people that are important to you. This has become painfully obvious to billions of people during the coronavirus pandemic.
Damn, yeah.
If you respected social distancing, so many things that we took for granted were not available anymore. Traveling and public places and eating out and seeing friends and meeting new people. Spending time together.
Oh god, it was really effed up last year especially. It felt like ghost town basically. During the proper lockdowns, I see outside of the window from my top floor, and I see the empty streets, no vehicles going around, no people. Oh god. Seriously. So I was getting so annoyed, because I live near a road. So, even sometimes you might have heard it in mic. Sometimes some vehicle sounds get picked up here and there. So I was annoyed because of all the vehicles going here and there. But last year when there was a lockdown, there was nobody. I started to miss the traffic, which at the point where I realized like, what the hell, I'm missing traffic. But it was so surreal at the time, like goddamn.
Together became limited and precious. But actually, the time you have with the people you love is already precious. Think of your parents. As a child, you spend basically every day with them. Your time spent together begins to decline as you transition and become a teenager and fight to develop your own identity. But as teenagers, you probably still see them regularly, which changes as you enter your 20s when most people move out for university, for work, or just to be on their own. If you're making an effort to be with your parents for 2 full weeks each year for the rest of their lives, which covers the main holidays, birthdays, and a bit extra, you still have already spent more than 90% of the time you will ever spend with them, even if they grow pretty old. If they die earlier, or if you see them only a few days each year, this number shrinks even more. So, in all likelihood, the vast majority of time you will ever spend with your parents has passed. The same holds true for your siblings or old friends that moved to the other side of the country. You're at the tail end of the time with some of the most important people in your life. One day, you will see them for the last time. And it's actually the same with everything else. The concept of doing something for the last time feels eerie, like something that you should only experience when you're on death row or extremely old or something like that. But it happens all the time. Is there a hobby you've been lazy about for?
Yeah, just the knowledge, the something, not just someone you love, but even some object too that you have in a way when you realize, the object that you really like. You suddenly realize that is the last time you ever see it. It's just so surreal feeling, right? I mean, if it's about your loved one, that's just way heavy. Let's not even think about that. Some object that you like and you want to keep it for your life. But suddenly you realize, oh wait a minute, this is the moment, this is the last time I want to see this object too. Even that feels surreal, like no, I don't want to let the object go in a way. Because, the seeing something last time is really heavy for humans basically. But that's the basic concept for life and everything. Everything moves on, everything dies. So that is kind of true for everything. Everything will, you will see one last time, whether you realize it or not, and that's just heavy.
A long time. Maybe you still have those Warhammer minis that you wanted to paint. Did you always want to revisit that place where you had an amazing time a decade ago? Is there someone you wanted to reach out to for a long time but haven't yet? Or pick up that sport again to meet new friends? Maybe you will never do any of these things again because life gets in the way and at some point it's too late. As the global pandemic begins to wind down, we will all soon be able to be with each other again and do fun things together. It's never a bad time to reach out to a friend or a potential friend and let them know that you're looking forward to hanging out. But no matter when you're watching this, our life is an incredible gift, and there are so many fun, engaging, and fulfilling things to do. And you get to decide what and who matters to you. But what matters the most is that you actually make decisions from time to time.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing like I said before. Like, if you can choose a job or anything, the way you live, if it's less beneficial, but at the point you have more control of life, you can make decisions, you can have fun where you want. I guess that is better decision than to grind your life away for some more extra money, because does that money even matters? I mean, if it's for survival, it's different. I mean, there are lots of people who grind every second of their life just to survive. I understand that point. But if you're just trying to make as much money as you can so later on you can enjoy life, that's just going to end badly. That's never fun. There are no retries in life. When you reach that point, I mean, that's just your aft basically. So, yeah. I think, a person should always, regardless, everybody has something in their life that basically, pushes them more forward and doesn't give them much of choice. But it's really important to, in your life, basically create some kind of a routine in a way that gives you a bit more control. You can decide what you want to do and always force yourself to do something that you really want. Just as like how you force yourself to do exercise, force yourself to do something that you like, whether you want to or not. Eventually realize that's something good that you did, because otherwise you would miss a moment and later on you realize, oh wait a minute, I could have done that, and then it's too late.
This video was based on and inspired by an article by our friend Tim Urban of Wait But Why, the best blog on the internet. Be sure to check it out to get more new perspectives on things. Also, if you want a reminder about the things we still want to do in life, with Tim's permission, we created a Kurzgesagt version of the calendar of your life that
yeah, people go to original page video link in the description and go from there, I guess. Check the calendar. Yeah, Wait But Why, that is a great title. Yeah, I mean, maybe later. You know what, I have time, I'll do it later. That never ends well, that's never a good thing. And that's usually the case for most people. About everything, every small thing in there, I'll do that later. I'll do that, I have time. Right now I have life to think about, all the things in my life. I have this to think about, that to think, I have a job, this, here and there. Sometimes, when if you want something to do, you will never have time to do that, basically, because there will be always something in the way. But you have to make time if you can, basically, and force yourself to do that. If eventually you will realize that it's a good thing that you did that. Otherwise you would regret that you didn't do nothing you wanted, and life just basically walked past when you did some kind of a routine, just went to a job for 30 years or something, then realized like, what the hell, I'm 60 plus, I just did one job my whole life and didn't do nothing else. What's the point of my life anyway? So yeah. Alright people, that was what I'm doing with your life, the tail end by the channel Kurzgesagt in a nutshell. If you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the reaction, there's a link in the description. Check out the cast playlist, check out the end cards, and I'll see you next time.